So you know you want to move to the suburbs of Tucson, Arizona, and you're deciding between Vail and Sahuarita. This video is going to cover the differences and the similarities between Vail and Sahuarita to help you decide which one you should move forward with. In this video, I will be covering the commute time from each, as well as the prices for real estate in purchasing a house, what the new construction looks like, HOAs, amenities of each, features of like the lifestyle of living in the different areas between Vail and Sahuarita, and what the exact process is of what it's like to work with me, my team, and what the next steps are. Let's talk about the commute time from Vail. Going from Vail to central Tucson will take you about 30 minutes. But Vail is actually pretty big, so it really depends how close you end up purchasing near the highway. Because obviously the more further out from the highway you end up purchasing, the more of a drive it'll take you to even get to the highway, to then get on the highway, then drive to central Tucson. Vail is very spread out, so it could take 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes just to get from one side of Vail to the other, especially if you add in morning traffic, if you have to drive by the schools, etc., etc. Now, when we compare that to Sahuarita can take 36, sometimes with traffic, even up to 45 minutes to get from Sahuarita to central Tucson. So if you're working, say at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, you can cut down that time. It's going to be about the same. It's going to be about 35 minutes from either Vail or Sahuarita in general to get to Davis-Monthan, to get to central Tucson. But the difference with Sahuarita is that Sahuarita is a little bit more compact. It definitely has more of a smaller town vibe. So you can't go too far away from the highway that, cuts Sahuarita in half. Unlike with Vail. With Vail is a lot more spread out. There's a lot more distance between the houses. There are some dirt roads out there still, so you could literally live like in the boonies out in the Vail area, which can, of course, make your drive from Vail to central Tucson further than if you were to live in Sahuarita. Of course, it all depends on which specific area, but in general, it's about the same. Sahuarita a little bit further away. Now, let's talk about purchase prices. So if you're going to be purchasing in Tucson, Arizona, this is why I make these videos. I am a licensed real estate agent. I do this all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. Actually, it's not more like 4 times on Sundays because that's when everyone wants to view homes. So that's when my team is most active. If you're interested in purchasing in either or anywhere in Tucson, I currently live in Monthan, Arizona, and I'm making these videos for you because I used to make these videos for clients, and I realized this was helping a lot of my clients, so I decided to make these videos public for you guys. Point is, if you want representation and you want us to represent you, please book a call with the link below. We want to help you. So anyway, all that to say, I want to go over the median purchase prices, the median sales prices, as opposed to the average, because the average includes a lot of outliers. So let's start again with Vail. The most recent median sales price is $399,900, so pretty much $400,000, as opposed to Sahuarita, which is less expensive at $334,000. And that's because I think Vail has a little bit of newer homes being built. The median age of the homes that were sold last year was 2014, comparing that to Sahuarita, which was 2009. But with Vail, there's a lot more space in between the houses. Like I said before, Vail seems, in my mind, just so far spread out, like very, very spread out, almost like Marana. It feels like very spread out. You can see a lot further as you're driving out. I think it's like kind of, of a boring drive. And then comparing that to Sahuarita's a lot more compact. There are a lot more HOA communities in Sahuarita. There are in both, but there's a bigger chance of you getting a non-HOA community house or property in Vail than there is in Sahuarita. And although the drive from Sahuarita to central Tucson is so boring, and there are cops everywhere, by the way, whether you take the highway or the parallel road next to it, once you get to Sahuarita itself, you feel like you're in a different town. You are in a different town, and it definitely feels like that. In Vail, it feels more residential. There aren't as many food restaurant choices at this time. There definitely is that in Sahuarita. Sahuarita is a town of its own. If you didn't even want to leave Sahuarita, if your job was also in Sahuarita, you wouldn't need to leave. The only time you would have to leave is to go to Tucson Airport, which wouldn't be that far away at all. Now let's talk new construction. There is new construction all over Arizona, which I think is great because it's helping with the demand, the heavy demand that we have as buyers. There is more new construction, however, in Sahuarita compared to Vail at this time. The new construction in the Vail area is going to be a little bit of a higher purchase price compared to the new construction in Sahuarita. They're both going to be HOA. 99% of new construction in the Tucson general area is going to be in an HOA because it's a master planned community. So if you are not looking to pay an HOA, then you need to cross off new construction off your list. Next up is cost of living. It's about the same. They're pretty much, within 20 minutes of each other. The cost of food is the same. The cost of the transportation is the same. The price of gas is about the same. The only biggest difference are the property taxes, and that is really throughout Tucson. If you're purchasing new construction, expect a higher percentage for property taxes than if you were to purchase an already lived in, already set home. New construction property taxes are looking at around 1.1, 1.2% of the purchase price compared to already established homes. At that point, you're looking at like 0.6, 0.7% roughly, right? Of course, there are going to be anomalies. So that leads us to amenities. And this is where I think there is a lot more amenities and offerings and just things to do in Sahuarita instead of Vail. Sahuarita has a lot of communities that have multiple pools, fitness centers. There's a huge man-made lake where you could, I want to say it's definitely over a mile to run or walk around the perimeter of the lake. And you feel like you're not even in Arizona. So if you wanted green, like literally the color green, if you wanted grass, if you wanted a beautiful lake, if you wanted a little bit more of like outdoor community walking spaces, I would choose Sahuarita because Vail at this time doesn't have that. Do they have green? Yeah, sure. I'm sure there are some like smaller parks here and there that have some green. I don't know of any lakes, man-made or definitely not real, in Vail. But if you are a horse person, there are definitely more horse properties in Vail instead of Sahuarita. If you're looking for a pool in your backyard, you'll have a better chance of finding that in Vail instead of Sahuarita. Because typically with HOA communities in this area, if you're going to have a pool and you're going to have an HOA, most likely the pool is part of the HOA. So it's a community pool as opposed to pool in the backyard typically is not part of an HOA. Therefore, you're most likely to find something like that in Vail. I've had clients that loved and hated living in both. So I've helped buyer clients and seller clients in Vail, same thing in Sahuarita. We help all over because my niche starting out was military clients, VA buyers and military sellers. It's since then have expanded. I've expanded past that, but I have worked with people that loved moving to Vail and loved Vail even though they were moving out. And I have worked with people that were like, why did we even purchase in Vail? It was so far away. Nobody came to our, parties because all of our friends lived in Marana. And this is a common trend that I say in all of my videos. If you have friends here that you want to maintain a relationship with, consider moving near them because Tucson is so spread out that you might not see each other as often as you want if you guys live on different parts of town. And I say that from experience, from my own, as well as from what I hear from others as well. So the same thing with Sahuarita, where I've helped people buy and they love their time there. I've helped people sell and they love their time there. And they also, sometimes other clients have hated their time there. And I don't want to get into the specifics because it is very client by client. I don't want this is not steering in any direction. So go check it out. This is my next portion of this video is about what happens next. If you want us to represent you, book a call using the link below. That is the fastest way to get a hold of me and my team. What's going to happen is my Calendly link has a couple of questions for you. So make sure that you answer that in full with any other buying party, say it's your best friend, your spouse, whatever it is. Book a call. At that call, my partner is going to be there. They're going to help ask any finishing questions. They're going to connect you to a lender because we cannot view homes until you are fully pre-approved or until we have the proof of funds if you're purchasing in cash. We will start the group chat. I'm going to be on it. My partner's going to be on it. You're going to be on it. Any other buying partner or partners are going to be on it as well as the lender. And that'll be the group chat for the entirety of the transaction. And in that chat is where we ask you to send us the properties that you're interested in. However, this is where I am making this video for the first time ever that I usually just tell my clients that know that they already want to work with me. Because after that Zoom call, we're going to send the buyer broker agreement. If you sign it and when you sign it, that's when we can start working. Other than that, I'm so sorry, but we have a lot of clients that know that they want to work with us and we only have so much time. So we are going to devote our time to those that have signed the buyer broker agreement so that way we can start giving them our full and undivided attention. So we will help you and we're here to help you. We're professionals. We do this all day, every day, again, 4 times on Sunday. So we're here to help you discover what you're looking for. You might realize that you're going to be purchasing a house that you didn't originally think that you wanted, or it might be that you knew what you wanted all along. That's excellent. We love that. We do ask a couple of things before you send those houses in that group chat. And this is where I'm going to divide it into 2 separate categories. The first type of client that we have typically is out of state. So I'm going to start there. Usually they're even out of country because they're military. So number 1, if you are not in the area, instead of being able to drive by the area, we ask that you go on maps.google.com. There's so much technology out here available. Like there's Google Earth as well. Virtually, drop that little yellow guy, virtually walk the neighborhood of whatever house that you're considering sending to us in the group chat. Virtually drop that little yellow guy, walk the 3. We always suggest walking the entire neighborhood. So walk 3 streets north, 3 streets south of that house, 3 streets east and west. Are you seeing what you like? Are you going to feel comfortable? Imagine if it's dark, are you going to feel comfortable walking that neighborhood? Because if not, nothing is worth your peace and mind. At that point, that house is not the right fit for you, so there's no point of viewing it. Do that for every single house. If you are already in the area and you're looking to just relocate to another area within, Pima County, then at that point, you don't have to do maps.google.com because you live here. So we ask you to do 2 things. 1, it could be done the same day. 1 is to drive by the neighborhood, day or nighttime. Do you like it? Do you like the commute? Is that house of what you were looking at before you sent it to us in the group chat? Is that house what it appears to look like on the outside? You're not going to be seeing on the inside until we have access and have started working with you. But is the neighborhood what you thought it was? And then number 2 is go back, or maybe your first time and only time before viewing the inside of the house with us is go back on a Friday or Saturday night at midnight or 1 in the morning and leave your car, park your car somewhere and walk the neighborhood. Do you feel comfortable? If you do not feel comfortable, there is no point in placing an offer. There's no point in looking at the house. Again, nothing is worth your peace. I have done this before. I have purchased a property where I knew I didn't feel the most comfortable. It's not in this state. And I went to sleep thinking, playing the game of, is that a gunshot or were those fireworks? And that's not a good place to be. Again, after you're done with work, you should be able to go home and relax. You should not be worried about your safety. So that's why I ask all of my clients, and it's advice that my dad always gave to me when I started purchasing properties. And I thought it was pretty good advice, especially if it's going to be one where you are living in. Even if you are an investor and you're working with somebody on my team who's helping you invest, then at that point, do the same thing. Is that the type of client that you want to have or tenant that you want to have? Whatever. So you get the point. So that is researching the area for both out-of-state clients or out-of-country clients and in-state, in the area clients. Number 2 for both is look up the school districts. Even if you don't have kids, look it up, be comfortable with it, because whether or not you plan on selling the house or renting the house later, that school district is going to be very, very important later on to either your tenant after you move out or the next buyers after you end up selling. Even though you might not care about the school districts, others do. Number 3 on each is the crime. Go on crimegrade.org, go on spotcrime.com, or do whatever website you find most comfortable or related to crime statistics. Look up, do as much research as you can, because as real estate agents, we cannot answer the question of, is this area safe? Is this area good? Is this area great or fine? Our definitions of great and fine are completely different. I was raised in the suburbs of New York City. What I consider safe is probably not what you consider safe. And I would never want to tell you what is safe or not, which is why I advise that you drop the little yellow guy, that you do the research on all these websites, that you look up school districts. If you want to be even more cautious, call the local police department and ask them, hey, what type of crimes do you have? What's the most common? Where should I steer away from? Because the cops don't have to withhold that. So you can call them and say, where are the most child predators, and like steer away from that area. But as real estate agents, we cannot help with that. So I'm sorry. That is where you have to do your due diligence. Next is go back to that form that you signed when you made a call with us. That's where we asked you your top 3 must-haves, your wants but not necessarily a need, and your deal breakers. Does it meet that criteria as well as the price point of what you were originally looking at, or the price point of what your funds allow your pre-approval is for? Because again, we're not going to be looking at homes that you cannot qualify for. We're not going to be looking at homes that don't have a pool in the backyard when that was a must-have for you. Things like that. And lastly, if this home is at least a level 7 out of 10 for you in your mind, like AKA you would actually make an offer on the property, perfect. It has passed the test, whether you're in state, in city or out of the country, send it to us in the group chat. And then we will start doing what we do behind the scenes, which we're going to talk to you about in the Zoom call. We're going to start working our magic. Our goal as real estate agents is always to keep you as educated as possible throughout the transaction. So if you ever have any questions, ask us. That is exactly what we are being paid to do. Hopefully this helped you a little bit with the difference between Vail and Sahuarita. If you have any other questions, drop it in the comments below. My partner looks forward to seeing you on the Zoom call. And if you want more information about the rest of Tucson, watch this video over here.